You were probably taught that sprouted potatoes are a deadly hazard. Almost every single one of us has mercilessly thrown them away at some point. A shriveled spud with long, twisted shoots reaching out, its skin turning a pale, greenish hue. They look exactly like a failed biological experiment that needs to be quarantined. Did you know that up to $300 million worth of potatoes rot uselessly in landfills every single year? Meanwhile, farmers have to use complex techniques to force them to sprout on purpose. So, what is the absolute truth behind these green shoots? And where exactly does the real boundary between safe and toxic lie? Let's unpack the biological reasons, the history, and the cold, hard science behind this mysterious natural defense mechanism. At its core, a potato is not a dead vegetable. It is scientifically classified as an underground stem, a tuber. When you buy potatoes, you are literally bringing home a living plant organism. It is simply in a state of hibernation. Before going any deeper, I want to tell you a chilling story. A married couple ate a breakfast together featuring green potatoes. The wife suffered agonizing food poisoning while the husband remained completely unscathed. What on earth happened? We will unlock that mystery later on. Back to your potato. The conditions to trigger it are incredibly simple. Temperatures crossing the 45 degrees Fahrenheit mark, or ideally hitting around 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Add a little bit of moisture and time. The potato mistakenly believes spring has arrived. It triggers sprouting to grow into an entirely new plant. A perfectly natural survival mechanism. This process works exactly like a battery discharging its power. It actively consumes its own internal starch reserves to feed the young sprouts. That is exactly why the potato gradually becomes soft, shriveled, and deeply wrinkled. A literal physiological machine, brilliant and precise. This is the part that surprises almost everyone. Why does this resurrection process terrify us so much? The secret lies in the skin. Many people are terrified of potato skin turning green. They view it as a deadly poison, but in reality, that green color is just chlorophyll, an absolutely harmless pigment that helps the plant photosynthesize light. But here's the crucial catch. This layer of chlorophyll acts as a literal warning light. It is exactly like the red check engine light on your car's dashboard. It is signaling that the potato has been exposed to light for way too long, and a highly lethal toxin is spiking right beneath that skin. Those are glycoalkaloids, primarily consisting of two types, solanine and chaconine. This is nature's built-in defense system, born to fight off hungry insects and foraging animals. Yet where's the toxin concentrated the highest? The sprouts, the green skin, the leaves, and the flowers. The white flesh inside contains incredibly low levels, but be careful. If the potato is exposed to light, the solanine toxin levels instantly spike tenfold. And here's the true danger: high heat. Cooking. You think you are safe? Dead wrong. The solanine compound possesses an incredibly stubborn heat resistance. Boiling, baking, frying, microwaving, they are all completely useless. Standard cooking methods cannot destroy this toxin. It cannot be reset. You can absolutely never cook your way out of a toxic potato. The only option left is to cut it away deeply. That is the absolute only way. To truly understand the threat level, we have to look at the numbers. There is a little-known truth. Under conditions with zero light exposure, you would have to eat up to 200 pounds of potatoes to face any serious danger. Potato cultivation expert Potato Thai once experimented by eating green potatoes continuously for 3 days. He confirmed he survived perfectly healthy. Over the past 100 years, the world has recorded just over 20 fatalities. But don't breathe a sigh of relief just yet. Light changes everything. It drastically reduces the lethal dosage required to poison you. Dietitian Melva Zircone from Banner Health has sounded the alarm. Eating sprouted potatoes is incredibly risky for vulnerable groups. Pregnant women face an increased risk of birth defects for their unborn children. And children and the elderly also bear a massive risk. What about the symptoms? At a low dose, nausea, vomiting, abdominal pain, diarrhea, headaches, and a bitter or burning sensation in the mouth while eating. At a high dose, low blood pressure, rapid pulse, dizziness, confusion, hallucinations, fever, and in the rarest cases, death. Now let's talk about that chilling story from earlier. The National Capital Poison Center holds the file that explains this absurdity. That couple eating breakfast together, the wife suffered from agonizing diarrhea and nausea for 8 straight hours. Meanwhile, the husband eating at the exact same table experienced absolutely 0 symptoms. It is a picky poison. The reaction drastically varies from person to person. Another, much more terrifying case. A 42-year-old man ate sprouted potatoes. He was rushed to the ER with severe vomiting and dizziness. The patient had to be put on IV fluids, administered anti-nausea medication, and anti-anxiety drugs. He was forced to stay in the hospital under strict observation for 3 full days. But the strangeness doesn't stop there. On commercial farms, green potatoes are absolutely forbidden from being sold for human consumption. They use a highly specialized machinery system. It's called the Drop Kicker 5000. It automatically kicks the green potatoes right off the production line. But those toxin-laced potatoes are then sold as cattle feed, and they are completely safe for these animals. Humans collapse, yet cattle remain unharmed. To fully understand this, we have to dive deep into the agricultural industry. We panic and avoid sprouted potatoes, but farmers actually crave them. Author John Seymour and agriculturalists reveal a commercial technique. It is called chitting. Farmers intentionally place seed potatoes into specialized rooms. They strictly control the humidity and darkness. The goal is to force the potatoes to sprout early. Why? This accelerates the life cycle. It allows them to be the very first to harvest and hit the market. The manipulation gets even more ruthless than that. To ensure the tuber develops a tough, sturdy skin capable of being stored for up to 8 months, they use a technique called skin set. Mowers pass through. They completely chop off the entire top of the plant above ground. The plant halts its growth. It forces all of its energy downward to thicken the skin of the tuber. It doesn't stop there. Space is money. Industrial machines are used to slice seed potatoes perfectly in half, going from 170 grams down to 85 grams. The speed? Dizzying. Up to 20,000 pounds per hour. All to instantly double the planting acreage and optimize seed costs. A massive, ruthless machine. Now, let's head back to your kitchen corner, where sheer panic is literally evaporating hundreds of millions of dollars. Data from the Daily Mail has highlighted a brutal reality. The vast majority of consumers make the decision to throw away food within a mere 2 seconds, the exact moment they spot a tiny sprout emerging. Panic driven by a lack of information has caused massive scale waste. Perfectly salvageable potatoes are tossed straight into the trash can. Their value, reaching up to $300 million, rotting uselessly in landfills every single year. So, what is the survival boundary? What is the standard for judgment? You can salvage it if the potato is still firm and solid, not shriveled or wrinkled, has absolutely no green spots, and the sprouts are just tiny nubs. But absolutely never just snap the sprout off. Yeah, grab a paring knife or use the pointed tip of a vegetable peeler. Gouge deeply into the eye at the base of the sprout. Then, peel off a significantly thicker layer of skin than usual. You must completely eradicate the surface area where the toxins are concentrated. When must you definitively throw it away? When the sprouts have grown far too long, over 1 inch, looking like they are growing arms and legs. When the tuber gets soft, squishy, and deeply wrinkled. That is a sign of total nutritional depletion. When the green skin penetrates deep into the flesh, the tuber emits a strange odor. Or, when you taste a bitter flavor, throw it away immediately. zero compromises. But the war continues to rage on even inside your trash can. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, advises that potato peels make for excellent compost. But here's the surprise. The gardening site Thriving Yard vehemently opposes composting sprouted potatoes. They warn that they can become vessels, carrying bacteria and pathogens that can spread throughout your entire garden. What is the compromise? You should freeze that sprouted potato before tossing it into the compost bin. The freezing cold will destroy the bacteria. What about cutting the sprouts and burying them in the dirt to plant them? The University of Minnesota notes, supermarket potatoes carry a high risk of harboring pathogens. It is best to buy proper, certified seed potatoes. Ultimately, the root of the whole issue lies in how you store them. Potatoes demand a dry, dark, and cool environment. It must be well ventilated. The optimal temperature is around 50 degrees Fahrenheit, 10 degrees Celsius. Absolutely never put them in the refrigerator. Cold temperatures force the starches to convert into sugars. The result? The potatoes will turn a dark, unappetizing brown when cooked, completely altering their flavor profile. You must never store them alongside onions or bananas. They emit ethylene gas. This gas accelerates the ripening process. It makes the potatoes sprout significantly faster. Regarding containers, use a breathable brown paper bag or a mesh bag, a wire basket or a cardboard box. Stay far away from sealed plastic bags to prevent moisture buildup, and you should only buy just enough to use within 1 month. That is the way to prevent the risk of sprouting entirely. What if you accidentally bought too many? You should slice them up, blanch them, and freeze them. So now you know the bizarre and highly contradictory truth of sprouted potatoes. They are not exactly spoiled food, not exactly garbage, and they are absolutely not a dead entity. They carry within them a complex physiological machine, a razor-sharp chemical defense mechanism, and a fierce vitality that defies even high heat. Whether you decide to grab a knife and peel them clean or carefully toss them straight into the trash, the sprouted potato is a flawless cross-section showcasing exactly how nature operates right inside your kitchen corner. It reminds us that even the most ordinary things, a green spot on a peel, a tiny emerging shoot, a cheap ingredient, also harbor astonishingly profound legacies of survival.